I'm the best there is.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
You can't handle the truth.
Just a big, hairy American winning machine.
What do you want to do with your life?
To be honest with you,
I can't wait to shit my pants.
I wish you could just shut your big yapper!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Long Chair Podcast. This is your host, Johnny Weather, and I'm hanging in studio tonight with my brother, Bradley Weather. Tonight, we're just two guys eating some delicious protein, sitting on the psychiatrist's lawn chair. We're talking about our problems here, and we're writing some common sense, holistic prescriptions for America, because God bless America. Brad,
whether they want them or not, right?
Right.
We're giving them their prescription.
Yeah, and sometimes it's aggressive and radical, and sometimes it's calm and makes some sense.
It sounded like you were using your radio voice and getting right up next to the microphone and kind of loving it a little bit and kissing on it. You introduced it like that.
We're giving it some love out there on the airwaves tonight, giving out some love. And, a special shout out to our listeners over in France. Still not sure how you got here, but I love you. Viva la France.
Well, I love this game. I got to tell you, I'm going to play a video, and you are going to tell me whether or not you know this voice or not. See if you can identify it. Now, you don't have to yell it out right away. You can wait. You can answer at the end. Are you okay with that?
Let's play ball. I'm all in.
All right.
I'm the best there is. I'm just a big hairy winning machine.
Well, la-ti friggin' da. Here we go. Tell me, who is this?
The president used his radio address yesterday and tomorrow in the Rose Garden to talk about a constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage.
Think about this. The world's going to Hades in a handbasket. We are desperately concerned about the circumstance relating to avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough police officers. And we're going to debate the next 3 weeks, I'm told, gay marriage, a flag amendment, and God only knows what else. I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act. We've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman. What's the game going on here?
Who is that?
Well, for a lot of people, this might be tricky, but if you're like me and you've actually saw that video when it happened, that's Joe Biden.
No.
And that's...
No, there's no way that's Joe Biden. Joe Biden
that's
is...
Joe Biden. That's segregation Joe Biden right there.
He's for gay marriage. He doesn't believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. He's for gay marriage. He's for transgenderism. So that can't be Joe Biden at all.
100% is Joe Biden. And that's funny because, hey, Joe Biden's the man who was pushing for segregation. He did not want black children in the same school with white children. But you know what? What do I know? I'm just some uneducated white boy.
So
I just listen to his words.
Yeah. Back when he was a senator, marriage was it was sacred, and it was between a man and a woman. Now you could marry your friend's donkey.
Hey, if the donkey identifies as a woman, whatever. Or an I guess it could identify as a donkey and you could still marry. I'm not sure about that one, Brad. I'm not sure. I've never read up on the donkey laws.
I had a friend once tell me.
It is a burro, senor.
I had a friend once tell me that he thinks within 10 years you'll be able to marry a donkey because you know what? Love is love.
Oh, I firmly believe legalized bestiality is coming. America is heading, as Joe Biden said, Hades in a handbasket.
Yeah, well, if the Democrats up here in Minnesota can make pedophilia a protected sex
Golly.
designation, then yes,
Smack
you're
those
right.
Minnesotans.
We are not far away. All right, I got another one of those. Listen
Just
to
thank
this.
your local Republicans for it because, well, a couple of them. I'm not going to get.
Well, how
into
about the
some names,
Democrats?
but-
Let's link the Democrats. The Republicans aren't in power right now. But here we go again. Listen to this. Who is this voice?
Much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class that have a full academic scholarship, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school, 165 credits, only need 123 credits, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
That's,
All right.
That's unbelievable. Joe said that. Now, I watched that Joe Byron video. That's the one. I think he's in a bar or something. And he's like, the one thing he didn't say was, "My muscles are bigger than yours, and I can beat you up, or my dad could beat up your dad." I was waiting for the "my dad could beat up your dad" part. But that's Joe Byron. For those of you who don't know, it's 100% the president of the greatest nation on earth, Joe Byron.
So the last video, we caught him changing his stance. Now let's listen to the rest of this and see, did he tell us the truth?
Oh, God, no.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. Now, Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
I think Biden's IQ is the same as his class rank, 76.
Should we be mad at ourselves? Should we ground ourselves because we're making might have been when he started losing his mind. Is this it right here? Because he said the complete opposite of everything that would have been true.
Yeah, but that's Joe for you. I mean, the other day he lied about this the quad state. He lied about that, which he did not create, just so everybody knows. But he also then immediately the next day, I think it was, he lied about his son, Bo. The man's son is dead. He didn't die in Kuwait or Iraq or any of the places that he continues to name. And he just did it again. He named it and he said, my son, and he died in Iraq. I think he said Iraq this time. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me, Joe. Like, dude, it's your son. You don't even know. How can you be? I'm sorry, Joe, but your wife should be arrested for elderly abuse, and so should the people around you, and you need to be put in a home because that's really sad, dude. That's your kid.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not getting angry. It's just, you know what I'm saying, P.
No, I hear you, man. It's
Family.
just, I'm so beside myself. The Democrats play the game of, if you have to explain, you're losing. So they throw out just some crazy accusation. And then when you're explaining that that's not correct, that they're lying, people look at you like you're crazy. And then all of a sudden, 4 years later, they come out and now they're saying they're for gay marriage, or they come out and they say that, oh, my memory failed me. I guess I didn't do all those things. I mean, your memory can fail you on 1 or 2 things. But saying 4 things that your memory, I think you were just trying to put somebody in their place, and it wasn't going to do it by saying you're 76th in a class of 85. So you had to say something else. It's just, they continue to get away with this crap, and it just bothers the heck out of me.
Well, the line from politicians, I mean, we're so used to it. It's crazy, but it's not even the line. It's like I said, could you imagine if your child died? I mean, think about that. A parent is never supposed to outlive their kids. And for all of you that have, my heart goes out to you. May God bless you in many other ways. May God continue to try to bless your lives, because that's really sad to me. And this man can't even remember how his own son died. And it just tells me that Joe Byron, as I like to say, is all business and no personal. And the man has no soul. He uses his one son and his brother and his son's ex-wife and all these other people. He uses them to, money launder and to get bought and paid for by other countries, which is proven. And now, he can't even remember his own kid's death. It's really tragic is what it is.
When people get older, they start to say anything that they want to, because they're just like, what are you going to do? Kill me? I'm already old and nothing's going to happen to me. Did you know the Obamas and the Bush family knew each other?
The Obamas in the Bush? No, I knew the Husseins in the Bush did, but not the Obamas. Fill me in on something new today.
Judge Joe Brown exposes the Obama and the Bush family connection. Now, Judge Joe Brown is in his late 60s, early 70s, so he's like, forget it. I'm telling everybody now. Here we go.
That's one number 44 and one before that, 43, Bush and Obama. Well, there are pictures of Bush with his arm around 8-year-old Barack Obama because his stepdaddy, adopted daddy, Lolo Sotoro, had done a lifetime worth of business with the Bushes. Wow. Uncle George Herbert Walker, after whom George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush 1 president, was named, founded Halliburton in 1946 in Oklahoma. And Lolo Sotoro had been international executive vice president for Standard Oil.
There was talk of him being a CIA asset.
Oh, well, yeah. See, he ran the death squads for the Indonesian army. On his own call, anyone could be assassinated. So when George Herbert Walker Bush became head of the CIA under the Ford administration, he just got with his old buddy in the oil business, Lolo Sotoro, and pulled off the hits. See, Barack's grandmother has been acknowledged as being the woman that operated the channels through which CIA money went to the Southwest Pacific. So she introduced her daughter, who had just had Barry, Barack, to Lolo Sotoro, and they got married, and Lolo Sotoro adopted Barack Obama.
Did you follow all that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
isn't that
really
amazing?
Isn't that challenging? No, I mean, no. I've said it for years. No, I mean, to all of the listeners, probably, but not. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but this is the kind of stuff that I have put these dots together years ago, and they're all playing on the same team. I said it in the last show. I said it in the show before that. I always say it. They are playing on the same team. This is why, even as Captain Unicorn wants to try to pick some other candidate that excites him, Donald Trump is the man because he is not one of these groupies, not one of this organization, this factious group. Republicans and Democrats, we have said it all the way up until Trump. We have said they are playing ball on the same team, and it is against the American people. It is a constant raising of taxes. It is a constant threat and fear to lives every day. It's a constant of everything that perpetrates bad out of a government that our founding fathers were concerned about.
When you say that, I remember you saying that before a few years ago, and I thought to myself, you know what? I don't know if I believe that. There's just way too many wealthy, elite, governmental people in this world. The odds of them knowing each other, maybe they've passed by each other, but to actually know each other and have done business together, come on. And here it is, exonerating you again.
Well, it's almost scary. Like,
yeah,
they had the part at the end where they adopt Barack. Oh,
yeah,
that's the part where it's like, were they setting this thing up from the beginning, putting him in
from
front
the
of
very
the right
beginning?
People? Were they literally trying to plan this whole action out to put him into a world power situation for nothing but wealth and power?
Well,
I mean,
remember, they were
sinister.
wondering how a half-assed senator from Illinois was going to get the nomination. He had the whole Bush family behind him, obviously, and a few other people, obviously. Yeah, junior senator.
I think it was
correct.
A one-time or a two-time, maybe two-time.
I think
I thought
two-time.
It was the first time, but either
I
way,
think it's the
one
second.
Or two-time junior goes to becoming the president. Listen, if you don't think anything can be done in America, the immigrants coming over the border illegally, they have a lot more in their mind than you do. Because the truth is Barack Obama showed you. Now, granted, he had a lot of backroom help. He had a lot of people that were willing to put up money and tell the right people about him and get him into that slot. Man, he stole that from Hillary. I'm sorry, that's funny. because he did. He stole that from Hillary. But you know what? All's fair in the Democrat Party because Hillary stole it from Bernie. So, and if y'all don't remember that, go back and watch the chairs flying in Colorado, baby. There was fireworks in the room.
The chairs flying in Minneapolis. They were doing it there too. All right. So, do you know what the names of the 3 Kardashians are? 3 Kardashian girls.
Yeah, maybe. Let me think here. They're everywhere. Well, obviously you got Kim, right? She's the head of the family. There's one named Chloe, I think, because Chloe actually looks like a friend of mine's 30-year-old daughter. And yes, and then there's a third one. Hang on. Well, this might take a few minutes. Hang on.
Well, that's okay.
There's Kim, there's Chloe.
You've already made my point.
That's crazy. I don't know.
2 times 2 times 1.
2?
Which ocean is on the east side of the United States?
The east one?
Yeah. You're from New York, right?
Yeah. Oh, Pacific?
You guys know this.
I know this. I don't know this. Pacific? No, I can't do the oceans. I don't do the oceans. Pacific.
What is the capital of the United States?
Stop! I knew he was gonna embarrass us. I know, wait. I didn't want to think because I don't want to sound dumb.
Well, just
There's no capital of the United States. Is there no capital?
correct.
Is that right?
No.
Oh!
You guys are UCLA
We literally
students?
go to UCLA. It's, yeah.
What are the 3 Kardashian sisters' names?
Courtney, Kim, and Chloe. Chloe, Kim,
Courtney.
and Courtney. Yeah.
Bonus points for the brother?
Robert.
They have no idea what the capital of the U.S. is. They have no idea what ocean is on the east side of the United States.
Wow.
But boy, they sure know who the Kardashians are.
Well, I think in all fairness, you should have asked me the other questions first so I could at least have vindicated myself because those were easy. I mean, come on.
I know you know those. That's not even... that was just too simple. But my point was making... The point that I was making is the generation that's coming up. Some of these people are going to be representatives and senators, and they don't even know what the capital of the United States is, and hopefully some that go for Congress and Senate will, but they don't know which ocean is on they don't know the Gulf of Mexico with that body of water, what it's called down there. They don't know. I mean, they don't know what the country north of us is called, but they sure know who the Kardashians are. Priorities.
What do you think if we made everybody? You tell me this. What do you think if we made everybody have to take like the immigration entrance exam in order to vote?
We'd only have 90,000 people voting.
Okay, that's funny. I had my mic muted, but that was funny. Okay, I'm with you. We'd have 90,000 people. I mean, seriously, like it's a hard test, but if you can't name the capital of the country, I mean, granted, I realize those oceans are tough. That whole Atlantic and Pacific thing is a real challenge.
Oh my God.
I get it, but the capital? Good Lord. I get it if you don't know what the white stripes on the flag mean and what the red ones mean. I get it. I'm not happy with it, but I get it.
Our great-grandparents are rolling over in their grave right now. Holy mackerel.
Not mine. Mine are probably applauding. No, I'm just kidding. They're probably smacking me for doing this.
You know what I'm saying. They're applauding you for doing this. What are you talking about? Using your First Amendment. Another video. I'm sure you've recognized the name. We've got a consistent theme going here tonight, but
redefining from a civil side what constitutes marriage.
I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union.
I'm not for gay marriage. I think marriage is a sacred institution between a man and a woman. And I appreciate the way the administration signed the Defense of Marriage Act. I'm going to be respectful for people who may disagree with me. I've had a record of doing so in the state of Texas. I've been a person that would have been called a uniter, not a divider, because I accept other people's points of view.
I agree with that, and I did support that law.
I believe marriage is between a man and a woman.
I believe that marriage is not just a bond, but a sacred bond between a man and a woman.
Now, could you name all those people?
Oh, definitely.
All right, let's try that again then. I'll stop it after they say it. There was once an issue we all agreed on.
You support gay marriage?
No, Barack Obama nor I support redefining from a civil side what constitutes.
So who was that?
I believe Joe Byron, of course.
All right. Who's this?
Segregation.
That marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now,
Wait a
for
minute.
me as a Christian,
Former President Barack Obama. That's another.
But Barack Obama's a Christian?
Well, it's questionable. You ask certain people, they might give you a different answer.
Later in his presidency, wasn't he Muslim?
Yeah, I guess. What is the man? Did the man really go to church or a mosque? Not really. So what he was a closet smoker. That's what he was. Not a lot of people knew he was a smoker, but man's a heavy chain smoker in the closet, bought and paid for, and he's a liar. As he just told you, he didn't do that. He didn't uphold that while he was president. He was a liar.
No.
Moving on.
Yep.
for me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union.
That one's George.
I think marriage is a sacred
Who's that?
institution between a man
That's
and
Bush
a woman.
Jr. That's
All
JW Jr. Or
And,
GW, excuse me. Good Lord.
I
He's a
appreciate the
uniter.
way the administration signed the Defense of Marriage Act. I'm going to be respectful for people who may disagree with me. I've had a record of doing so in the state of Texas. I've been a person that would have been called a uniter, not a divider, because I accept other people's points of view.
I agree with that, and I did support
was that?
law.
Oh, now that's an
I believe-
interesting one because I was hoping we get to talk about that guy because that was Alphonse Gore. No, Al Gore. That was Al Gore. And Mr. Gore, I want to remind everybody in the United States of America of something very, very factual. When this media tells you right now that no one's ever challenged the election before, no one's ever blah, blah, blah. Al Gore held it up for days in Florida fighting George's win. And until this day, Democrats still believe Al got screwed. And Hillary Clinton did the same thing. Every time they lose, they do it. But again, remember, Republicans like to do it too. The only difference is they had a lot of proof this time. And remember, Democrats, y'all also said, now I'm going to finish with this, they also said that you guys ran tests and proved the machines could be hacked. Just remember that. You guys said that. Matter of fact, it's the current Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, who said that they had run tests visually and watched the machines get hacked. And now they say, oh, that just can't happen. It can't happen. I'm like, good Lord. Crazy.
Who's this?
I believe marriage is between
was
a
that?
man and a woman.
John
I believe
Kerry.
Very good. Now, who's this?
that marriage is not just a bond, but a sacred bond between a man,
Man,
and a woman.
woman, and a cigar, right?
Man, woman, and a cigar and another lady.
That's right.
Well, if you call it a lady. Anyways, that was obviously Hillary Rodham end up in a body bag Clinton. You got to watch out for her back there. That, when they use the expression, we'll take you out to the woodshed, the Clintons really mean that.
They mean
they're not
it,
just
absolutely.
talking smack. They're going to take you out there and they're going to bury you.
Yep.
Don't mess with that family. You got to ask yourself a question, though. With all this information that's come out with the FBI and the CIA and the DOJ and everybody being involved in this whole conspiracy against a political opponent, why is she not being charged? I mean, they went to Trump's house. They kicked open the door. They did all kinds of nasty stuff. They did it to Roger Stone. They did it to, what's his name, the other fella, Manafort. And, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, the Manafort and Roger Stone and all that stuff, that was nothing to do with the campaign. That was illegal things they were doing on their own. But whatever, you probably shouldn't keep that kind of company either. But on the flip side, how come Clinton hasn't been arrested yet with all this evidence out there?
Yeah, I'm sure she's got the same deal that Epstein had, that will just be exonerated.
I like that. You telling me she's got the blackmail? She's got the dirt? I like that. You might be onto it. I can't prove it. Epstein, I can definitely connect the dots long before.
Oh, yes.
But Clinton, it makes me wonder. That's a good theory. I might have to look into it.
Yeah, she's been First Lady, and she's been the Secretary of State. She's been a Senator of New York. She's got, I bet you, quite a bit. So I love.
That's how they rub you out.
I absolutely love this next audio. Out of 10 people, how many people tell you we live in a democracy?
Oh, it's the number. I think a lot of people do it accidentally, but for me, it's at least half, maybe 6 out of 10. I mean, it's a staggering number. Only those that are really involved, or the company I keep, but only those that are really involved or anything like that use the word republic.
All right. So I want to let's play this audio. Then I'm going to go back and play it again because I want to stop it and let you give 2 cents on everything here. But let's have a listen through the whole thing the first time.
Let's rock.
Someone I love once said, if we stuck to the Constitution as written, we would have no federal meddling in our schools, no Federal Reserve, no U.S. membership in the UN, no gun control, no foreign aid. We would have no welfare for big corporations or handouts to the poor, no American troops in 120 foreign nations, no NAFTA, no GATT, no fast track, and certainly now no NATO. We would have no arrogant federal judges usurping states' rights, no attacks on private property, no income tax. We could get rid of most of those agencies that are unconstitutional anyway, and most of the budget, and the government will be the small, frugal, limited government it was meant to be by our founders. And that was Ron Paul.
That was awesome. And that is truth.
So, all right.
Our government should be funded for our borders and our military.
And education for the kids.
No.
And the roads.
No.
And our homes.
No.
And the vehicles we drive.
Come on.
All right. So let's play this. I'm going to stop it and let you give your 2 cents.
Said, if we stuck to the Constitution.
We need to stick to the Constitution, right?
Well, if they did, we wouldn't have 90% of the problems.
As written, we would have no federal meddling in our schools. No
federal meddling in our schools. That means each state would be able to teach their kids the way that they believe they should be taught.
Yeah, this is a really good point, and this is a great one just to start on, because if Americans could imagine just for a moment what the country would look like when you had people not fighting, but, or going to places where they feel they get the education that best serves their kid. And that's the state's education, and states should be, if they want to provide it, they can, depending on how their state constitutions are written and amended. But as a state, you could really be like, hey, we're going to live in, Idaho because Idaho's got the best education system around. And their property taxes might be a little bit higher or whatever, but they've got great teachers and great people, and we want to raise our kids there. And you could look at the opposite and say something like, XYZ state. I'm not going to pick on any state. I love all 50. But, XYZ state could be a really bad state. And, you might not want to. So it's a level of competition. So for all you athletes out there, think of it that way.
And then if the one state wasn't getting enough kids to go to their college, they would have to compete. It's called a free market. All right. Yeah. No Federal Reserve.
Federal Reserve, no U.S. membership in the UN, no gun control.
So no membership in the UN. Do we want to have a membership in the UN?
No.
Because
we don't need one. No, because we are the UN. I mean, simply put, we are the UN. We supply the weapons, the guns, the manpower. We supply the technology. We supply basically everything.
We supply 80% of the budget.
Yeah, and we supply the money. And when every other little country gets into a problem that we've accepted into the UN, we got to go and put up all our resources to go save their butt. No offense, and I'm not trying to be a bad guy to the little countries of the world, but listen, it's not the United States of America. It's not our citizens' backs that we're supposed to be doing this for the rest of the world and bankrupting our nation doing it. I mean, period. It's not our business. And the fact of the matter is let's be real. If China decided to attack us or Russia decided to attack us, how much of our allies are really going to put up? I mean, come on, they don't put up anything for NATO anyways. Again, 80% our way. So how much are they really going to put up? It's not a good deal for us.
No gun control?
Crazy talk. Now, again, I'm one of those people that I try to use common sense, and forgive me when I say this, folks, but those of you, and I just pick on one group at a time, but those of you that have schizophrenia, I don't think you should have a firearm. That's my opinion. But again, it should be a state's thing. The Constitution says this, and now state constitution, being the 10th Amendment, should have the right. But the Constitution supersedes all of it, which makes it very challenging the way it is written. If you do it as it's written, you are correct. There are no restrictions. Anyone can own a firearm. Anyone has the right to purchase it. But you could counteract that with people saying, I'm not selling firearms to these people.
That's very true.
People's rights. That could be their religious.
Oh, no foreign aid.
No foreign aid. That one to me is a huge one because we throw a ton of money away of people. We've gone through this. We've had a podcast previously that we talked about the amount of money that we give to foreign countries, and half of it goes to countries that don't even like us. So I understand why we do it. You know, I've always understood that we want to fight wars on someone else's land, not our land. So I understand why we try to manipulate the situations that are arising in other countries and try and stop it, you know, whatever it is. But in the same sense, do we need to give them money?
No. I'm always against this. Again, we give $110 billion. We've done this show. We did $110 billion worth of bogus money to these people every year, and they hate our guts. Remember, 9 of those countries absolutely hate our guts. But we did skip a very important one that they said prior, which was even bigger than what you're talking about. And
no Federal Reserve.
By far, my number one, which is no Federal Reserve. I'm a guy who understands finances, banking, and the financial and the Federal Reserve. Sorry if I'm getting flustered because this subject really eats me up, so I'll keep it quick. The Federal Reserve has no business pumping up our stock market, no business making corporations richer, no business bailing out bad banks, no business doing any of this with our money. It's that simple. This is our money. And if someone runs a bad business into the ground, then so be it. And I understand that people lose money this way. I get it. But this is where you make good investment decisions. When I own a stock and a stock goes down to nothing, nobody bails me out. It was a bad decision. And that's what happens. So we have to suck that up as a society, and we got to get rid of the Federal Reserve because they waste billions and trillions of your dollars and my dollars. I hate those people.
We would have no welfare for big corporations or handouts to the poor.
No welfare for big corporations and no welfare for the poor.
So now, that's a stupid comment.
It really is.
Because the states would have so much wealth that they could easily take care of their poor. And I will say this real quick. I do believe out of the 50 states, we've done the numbers of how many states it takes to amend the United States Constitution. And I do believe you could get 38 of them together to amend it for that reason, which is to take care of the poor. Think about the wealth we have.
You know, my stance on that is the Christian teachings. We are supposed to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, you know, and we are supposed to take care of our poor, our fellow man, and that kind of thing. So, I mean, handouts to the poor. Now, if you want to say, look, what I'm saying is, I'm just not going to throw money at you. I'm going to have expectations of you. Get back on your feet. You get a job, get a home, you know, do all that kind of stuff. Amen, brother. I'm for that 100%, and I'm willing to pay to help out. But if you just want me to throw money so you can continue to be homeless, that doesn't make any sense to me. You got to be bettering yourself.
But we've got people that are paraplegics and things like that really can't
take care of them. Absolutely,
yeah, take care of them. And I know you know that. That's why I brought it up, just to clarify. But it, that's the part where I disagree. Like, I get where Ron Paul's going with it, and he's right. And I know Ron Paul doesn't necessarily feel that way. He's more in our bucket on that, where we believe that the wealth would be there would be so much abundant wealth for our state governments to have that all this taxation wouldn't have to happen. And all of this, we wouldn't have to. I mean, think about it. We give $110 billion to 10 countries, 9 of which hate us. What could we do with that money here in the United States for people that hate it? Good Lord. So I think we should all be able to agree on that.
No American troops in 120 foreign nations. No NAFTA, no GATT, no Fast Track, and certainly now no NATO.
North Atlantic
Bam!
Treaty Organization, no NAFTA. We want to have arrangements with the countries around us so that we can prosper economically, right? But
why on a federal level?
I was just going to say, couldn't each state make their own? I mean, so like Tennessee, you're in the middle of the country. Are you going to be able to negotiate with Mexico? Maybe if you produce a product like, I don't know, Jack Daniels, and you want to sell it in Mexico, So I guess there's always a way that you can avoid all that. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the one thing that throws all of this into a tizzy is other people in the world that want to take over your country and they want to send the world into war. Having those alliances, makes sense. Are you going to have 50 different agreements with the same other countries, or are you just going to have one that encompasses all the countries?
Well, I've always said that the government's responsibility is to protect the people. That's the borders and the people. So that means to have a military and to have and really, if you abide by the Constitution as it's truly written, the government has one responsibility, and that is to provide you life, liberty, and happiness, and nothing else. Literally nothing else. But we have all these extras in there, and one of them is that you're right, trying to make 50 states, be an ally of one country and build a base there, have all their different militias there, that's encumbering. So What do? You do it under a federal, and you have the military still as protection, and you have a border patrol still as protection, and you do it correctly. But you could get rid of that FBI.
We would have no arrogant federal judges usurping states' rights, no attacks on private property, no income tax.
We might not have federal income tax, but we're going to have state income tax for sure.
Well, absolutely. And you're still going to have sales taxes.
Yep,
I mean, you're still going to, sales tax will generate plenty. So, yeah. And there should, and see the whole no federal income tax. I think if we're going to ask our federal government to have a military budget, I think that we have to kick into that kitty.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next.
We could get rid of most of those agencies. They're unconstitutional anyway. And most of the budget and the government will be the small, frugal, limited government it was meant to be by our founders.
So I think, a lot of those things that you and I just talked about, if we were to limit a lot of those things, I think it would be a much smaller government. I think you and I would be a lot happier, and I think the world would be a lot happier. And I think it would look our world would look a lot different if we followed the Constitution. But for some reason, we feel like 50% in one vote makes a difference,
I'm telling you, I think the one thing you missed on there, and I think people really should pay attention to, because America is an extremely greedy country. Its citizens are greedy, majority of them. But I would say that, remember this, people, and I mean this is good stuff here. If we had this type of government, the amount of money in your pocket, in your bank account, would be millions, because your wealth would be exponential. You would have, for those of you that don't have a savings, you would have a large savings. For those of you that don't have a home, you would own a home. You would. And for those of you that have never been in the stock market, you would be in the stock market making additional returns on your money. And that's what building wealth is all about. But when your government suppresses you and overspends all of our money and continues to find a way to use the word tax in a different way, but find a way to use it to take your money, they're just stripping of us of our generational wealth. So, consider that when you're voting. Look for a Ron Paul. Seriously consider it.
Did you listen to the podcast while you were gone? Did you remember hearing Milton Friedman saying,
I did.
Is there a country you know of that isn't greedy?
No.
All human beings are greedy.
Well, it's not. We use the word greedy, but really what we're looking for is prosperity. We're looking at one generation, looking at it from the perspective, I want to make my next generation better. I want to make them wealthier. I want to make them stronger. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not greed.
Greedy, we want a better life for our kids. Yeah, absolutely.
If that's being greedy, then call me greedy too. But people would have it here. Could you imagine $110 billion just to those foreign nations? How much the hundreds of billions we kick into NATO? The trade deals with NAFTA that are kicking us in the rear end. All these different things that are just constant. The Federal Reserve's ridiculous amount of spending and control of the markets, not letting the free market run. I mean, can you imagine our technology explosion if the free market had the opportunity without its government being involved? How about technological advances in medicine, for gosh sakes? We got our FDA up everybody's butt until the FDA gets the right amount of check in their pocket before things actually get approved. Everybody knows there's a damn cure for cancer, but nobody wants to get it out there because why? The FDA ain't going to let that go. That's a moneymaker. Conspiracy for the night.
Well, you and I are greedy. We took up 40 minutes of our listeners' time. This is the Long Chair Podcast. That's another episode. Have a good night.
Hey, this is Captain Morgan.
Hey, this is Bradley Weather.
Hey, this is Johnny Weather.
I know you want to listen to us every second of every day. That's
why, because I've got the best prescriptions for you.
That is why we made it easy for you to find us on
Apple Podcast, Amazon Music,
Audible, Google Podcasts,
Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, Radio Public, where you can subscribe, share, and give a 5-star rating.
Because you know life just ain't right without a good government.
Granted by we the people.
And we're like a dog show. Best in class, baby.
I got a car full of girls and it's going real swell. The next stop is the East Side Motel. We used to chase that Ted and Luke freight. Couple of kids in a Chevrolet. Gets a little air when we cross the tracks. Sipping on something from a paper stack. You hang your shirt on that maple lamp. Slipping through the moon to the river bend. Wasn't very long, I was jumping in. Guess I'm still doing now what I was doing then. Chasing you like a shadow whisk, burning blue.